Hello, and welcome to another episode of Thoughtfully Fit Thursday. Today, we're going to be exploring what happens when your thoughts get the best of you. And specifically, we're going to look at the difference between squirreling thoughts and stewing thoughts, and what you can do if you find yourself in a less than productive place. And I'm thrilled to have with me my amazing colleague and longtime friend, Nancy Clark.
Hi.
Nancy, I have known forever, and she's on the team. And Nancy does a lot of trainings and master classes. And I'm thrilled to have you here with us today, Nance.
Oh, super excited to be here with you, Darcy. Can't
It's
wait to talk about stillness.
Yeah, I mean, you and I, we aren't very good at stillness typically.
No, that is not the beginning of our relationship. Stillness would not define that. But, as we've grown and matured and aged, shall I say, gracefully, um,
Yes.
both you and I have really started to figure out there's something to this that's helpful.
Yeah, there really is something that's helpful. And so what I want to just start with is ground this in the concepts that you explore in the master class of being in the zone. Can you just
Mhm.
describe what that means?
Yeah. So, just to step back 1 second, right? This whole idea of stillness is about us paying attention to what our thoughts are doing. Not even, honestly, not necessarily even so much what are the thoughts as much as, wow, are they serving me or not serving me? So we use the analogy, Darcy, like, we do a lot in your model, this kind of this physical fitness metaphor as it relates to thoughtfully fit. And so the whole idea of out of the zone or in the zone is when you think about athletes and they're in the zone, right? Like, what do you notice about their performance? Well, right, things are focused. They're doing really well. They're doing that vault exactly as they have designed it to be, right? They're super hyper focused. And so the same can be true about what's happening with your thoughts. When they're in the zone, you've got, you have clear thinking, you can attend to the things you need to attend to. But sometimes your thoughts are not in the zone and they're out of the zone. So, out of the zone is just opposite, right? It's distracted. They're taking away from your performance as it relates to, whether it's working on a paper and you have writer's block, right? The opposite would be, wow, I'm writing a novel, I'm writing a song in like the next 10 minutes because I'm so in the zone. So that's the metaphor that we use
Yeah,
in
I
the
love
thought
that. And
model.
anytime you watch whether it's the Olympics or some kind of a performance from a figure skater, you name it, whatever it is, you can see when someone is in the zone.
Oh yeah.
And the application here to your thoughts, when you're out of the zone, your thoughts are doing something that is not serving you, that might be sabotaging you. And so,
Correct.
share a little bit more about what this means, the swirling and the
The
stewing.
stewing. Sure. So those are the two examples of out of the zone thinking that we focus on in the master class. And the whole idea is again, it's what your thoughts are doing as opposed to what your thoughts actually are. And so in
So
squirreling,
say
right?
that again. I just want to say that again because this is a kind of a meta concept. You're focusing on what your thoughts are
Thoughts are
doing.
doing, not necessarily on what the thought is or what the related behavior is. So in the case of squirreling, right, if you were to take a look inside your head at what your thoughts were doing, they would be all over the place. They would be zigzagging. They would not be attending to anything, right? When you look at squirrels and they're just this frenetic energy almost. And so when your thoughts are squirreling, like you can't hold on to any one of them, they're all over the place, right? To the point that they could almost get you to the point of overwhelm. And then it's like your thoughts aren't doing anything because you're frozen. right? So that squirreling is really, they're not focused, and they're attending to everything instead of the thing you need them to be attending to.
So that might be, I want to just ground this in example. When would someone's thoughts be squirreling? Like if they're going to, yeah, do you have an example?
Yeah, so I think about, I let's say that I open up my email, Darcy, and I'm thinking, okay, I need to get Darcy out this email because she said it was really important. And so I'm starting to type the email, and then I'm like, oh, but geez, that just reminded me, something popped up on my screen. And so now I go chasing that. And then that leads me to another thought and to another thought. And what you end up in squirreling is a ton of activity, zero accomplishment. So that's kind of a reflection of your thoughts all over the place. You're not finishing out anything. You're not getting anything done as a result of the squirreling.
And it really does sound like there's a lack of stillness. And I mean, I can
Oh,
feel the lack of stillness in that frenetic energy, high
yes.
activity, low productivity.
Yes, absolutely. And then stewing is a different type of out of zone thinking, and that's more about like you're ruminating on one thought. It's almost like you get so hyper focused that you aren't paying attention to anything else, and you lose all situational awareness. You just keep coming back, and your mind can't get off of it. And an example that I think about with this, Darcy, is um, when I would coach people for their leaders get back their engagement results, and it's what their team members think about them, right? And so they might have seriously 1,000 positive things that have been shared about their leadership, and there's maybe one negative comment in that whole slew, and then all they can do is focus on that one negative thought, and they stew and they ruminate, and they can start to, your thoughts can start to get dark and negative, and it just kind of shades everything in this negative energy, which also impacts your results, right? Because you're just not in that right frame of mind when you're stewing.
Right. So I'm guessing. I mean, this is our humanity.
Mhm.
This is not about trying to be perfect. But if this happens, and we have thoughts that are squirreling, and we have thoughts that are times that we are stewing, what how can you get then back in the zone? If that's a demonstration of when you're out of the zone, how do you get back in the zone?
Yeah, and I know you're going to be talking about the core in a second in terms of this pause, think, act, but higher level than that, think of it as almost like two steps. One is when you start to notice, wow, like my thoughts are all over the place, or wow, I can't get out of this one thought. The first step is just to eliminate all external inputs, because you're just going to try to notice your thoughts, right? And so as you eliminate all these other inputs, you can really focus on what is going on inside of my head, and then ask yourself a couple thoughtful questions like, so what thoughts tend to be taking my energy right now, and how are these thoughts serving me? And right, it's a way to just slow down your thinking, or in the case of stewing, kind of open it up a little bit. But it's just really focusing on what's happening to my thoughts, and how can I get out of them, right? Because once I start to think about those thoughts, then I can take action on the one that's going to serve me best. So I'm just kind of breaking this cycle, if you will.
Yeah, and it this is all grounded in the thoughtfully fit practice of stillness. And what I'm hearing you say is that in order to be able to get back in the zone, eliminating the distractions, it requires you to to quiet your mind, to
Yeah,
recognize like, oh, okay, I am squirreling or I am stewing, to notice and raise awareness of that.
absolutely. Absolutely. And the best thing about this is there's no one way to practice stillness, in the sense that I know you and I have talked about this. I go out for a great cross country ski, and I just, all I'm doing is like thinking about getting into my breath and thinking about, like I'm just doing something to just allow my head that space to, um, yeah, to notice my thoughts, right? Or it can be something like you cut a lot of vegetables, right? And that methodic cutting is a way to be able to pay attention to what's going on in your head. So you don't have to be still to practice stillness. But if you're not going to be still, the goal is you don't want to get cognitive overload and be doing something that's having you think about that thing, because now you're just going to go to that thing. You're not going to notice your thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah. And so with stillness, for being thoughtfully fit, your body doesn't have to be still. It's about quieting your mind.
Exactly. That
Yeah.
is
And what I'd say the bottom line, what I'm hearing you share, is this is about increasing your self-awareness in the moment to
Mhm.
notice when you're stewing or squirreling and your thoughts are sabotaging you. So
Yes.
we'd like to end this with engaging your core and a core workout for you. So the next time that you feel like you're out of the zone, I'm going to invite you to pause for a minute and think. Listen to your thoughts and notice, are they squirreling or are they stewing? And then act and give yourself some time to figure out what you need and then find a way to give yourself that. So, Nance,
Exactly.
thanks so much for joining us. I know this masterclass that you do is awesome, and it goes into a lot deeper dive on this. So, if anybody watching is interested in learning more, check it out at darcyloma.com or reach out to us, shoot us an email. We would love to connect with you. Thanks
Yes.
for joining us, Nance.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.